Hooray. Okay, well, welcome everybody. So obviously we're here to listen to the presentation for the South Quad Conference for the spring of 2022. We have one bidding team composed of two different chapters, Auburn and Georgia Tech. So that's very exciting. And so Jesse will explain a little bit more about the voting process later on, but essentially since we only have one bid, we still need a vote, but it's not going to be a vote between two different bids. It's just a vote of confidence, whether we're confident that they can kind of carry out the conference and do it well. And if we're not confident in them, you can vote no, and that would be sad, but it's up to you. So with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Jesse and Colin.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Jessie Cart. I am your South Quad Director this year. If you don't know much about quad conferences, they happen every year. Each quad will have typically a conference either the fall or the spring, depending on the year that goes on. But quad conferences are open to everyone. This year, the South Quad Conference will be hosted in the spring of 2022, which we're very excited about. If you've been able to attend some of the past quad conferences, we had a great virtual one last year hosted by OSU in the fall. So this year, the schools that will be bidding for the South Quad Conference, it is a team between Auburn University in Alabama and Georgia Tech in Atlanta, which is very exciting. So I'm going to start off by sharing with y'all a video of Colt Brock, who will be representing Georgia Tech. He is unable to be here with us today because he is studying abroad in Korea and the time difference is pretty extreme. All right, everyone can see my screen?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. My
Can you
name
hear
is Colt Brock. If you don't know me,
Yep, all good.
I am currently serving as past president at Georgia Tech over in Atlanta, as you can see on the screen. I've served on the exec board for 2 years and have been active at both the local and national level for the past few years, and I'm super excited to be showing you all this bid today. Sorry I could not make it live. I am currently in Seoul, South Korea for a study abroad, and I hate to miss it, but it's currently, when y'all are seeing this at least, it's 5 a.m. local time for me, and so I am hopefully asleep, and hopefully I will not be at this meeting, but I will miss you all greatly and look forward to getting your questions and hearing some of the things that y'all want to know about this conference. So yeah, as you can see on the screen, the title of our conference is Urban Wasteland. You can read that both as Urban Waste and Urban Land. It's a bit of a dynamic title. As you can also see, this is a co-hosted conference by our AIS Georgia Tech and the wonderful people at AIS Auburn. I don't know if Colin's playing this first or not, but Colin is also the past president at Auburn, and he will be taking all of the live feedback. Moving on, the theme, as I said earlier, is Urban Wasteland. The conference will be focusing on the use and misuse of spaces, specifically urban spaces, city centers, population centers, and we're sort of hoping to engage you to think critically about how you interact with and design in the urban environment, using Atlanta really as a case study. It's no surprise, we're hoping to host a conference out on Georgia Tech's campus in Midtown, where our campus is located in downtown, which is a really historic area. A little biased, but Atlanta's been the capital of the Southeast for a long time. It's one of the fastest growing cities in the South. It sits at a lot of major highways. If you've ever driven in the Southeast, you probably know that. And it has been sort of a victim of rapid urbanization, and we really want to use Atlanta to sort of have a dialogue with professionals, with students, with community members about that, and sort of how we can really design those spaces in an intentional way moving forward. The first track, the first major day of the conference will focus on the urban waste aspect of our theme. And we want to talk about some historical practices and methods that have led us to have spaces be what they are, whether they're inequitable, underutilized, misused, things like that. The first day will really be engaging through sessions and tracks on that. The second day will be focusing on the urban land with an attempt to create an understanding of how we should, or different ways to use these spaces than what they're currently being used for. Because as we all know, Cities are not exactly the best spaces to interact with at a human scale. And so we really want to challenge the notions of what cities are and what sort of population centers are and how we can make them into something more habitable and better for the human and not just for the car or for the building.
So now I'm going to pass it off to Colin, where as Colt said, he is serving as past president and seer at Auburn University.
All right. Hey, everyone. Like Colt and Jesse mentioned, I am the past president of Auburn University's AIS chapter. And while Colt got to do all of the fun stuff, you talk about the theme, I get to do all of the logistical stuff. So I think he won that coin flip. So I'm going to share my screen. Can y'all see it? Okay. So the first thing, and it's usually the question we get asked the most, is how much is this going to cost me? Because everyone wants to know. And so in person, we're looking at kind of the regular early bird pricing, and then after that, a regular pricing structure. So we tried to keep costs kind of as low as we can for members, because we want to encourage attendance as much as we can, but we also still have to make money. Stuff costs money, and Atlanta is no exception. So yeah, the reason we chose kind of November 1st as the end of our early bird is that we saw it as kind of a point where, we have to start getting everything locked in. So we want to try and get as many people registered as possible before that, so we can start, giving people numbers as best we can. So if you're interested, definitely try and register before that. Let's see if this will change. My computer has rebelled against me. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay. So I'm gonna hope y'all can see that again. So those are our in-person prices. We also have virtual prices. And we decided to host a hybrid modality conference because we want to encourage as many people as possible to attend. While we are in the South Quad, we have heard that other people might be interested. So, if we can make it as accessible as possible to members in the Northeast, West, Midwest quads, even if they can't attend in person, we would love for them to be able to join us virtually in some capacity. As long as their mid reviews don't happen to line up. So we'll see. It's happened again. I'm gonna have to stop sharing every time. This is great. Wouldn't be an AIAS presentation without some technical difficulties. Let's just try this and see if it works better. Can y'all still see that? Okay.
Yeah, if we can see it.
My slides still don't change, so this is going to take a while. Anyways, so for hotels and accommodations, we kind of chose 2 hotels in the downtown Atlanta area. They're both I think they're within about 4 blocks or 5 blocks of each other, and they're both right by public transit stops. So if you happen to fly in, you can hop on MARTA, pay a few dollars, and you'll be there as quickly as possible. So the first hotel we chose was the Candler in downtown Atlanta, and it's in the Candler building, which is, I believe, owned by the family that owns the Coca-Cola company. It's a beautiful historic hotel, but we realized that, that is definitely more expensive, so it might not be within everybody's price range. So we also wanted to find some place that, was still within the area, but was a little bit more affordable. So Fairfield Inn and Suites is, again, a nice hotel. It's a little bit farther away, but It's still comfortable, and we think it, it offers a little bit more choice for everybody. And lastly, we have kind of the Airbnbs. The last time we looked, there were a lot available in the area. So, if y'all want to just get an Airbnb as a school, that's definitely an option as well. Sorry, 1 second. I'm getting a message. Okay. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. Let's try this.
It's okay. You're in the virtual world and it's still not easy. So, these things happen.
I'm at the real studio. I can barely internet. I can't. I'm out here because I can't computer. That's why I'm here. So, okay, let's try it now.
You're
Now
doing
that we have
great.
PDF.
You've got
Thank
this.
you. Thank you. A tiny bit of support. It means so much. So here are some photos from the Candler. So like I said, it's a beautiful historic building. They just finished restoring it. I want to say last year. The last time I was in Atlanta, and Colt and I had a meeting, we stopped by, and it is beautiful, but that doesn't really even do it justice. It's just a lovely building. And so we hope that you're able to come and stay there with us, but if not, we're definitely still going to try and use it for maybe 1 or 2 workshops, so everyone can come in and experience it. We just think it's a lovely little gem in downtown Atlanta. Let's go with this. Oh, okay. So travel. Atlanta being the capital of the Southeast was generally very easy to get to. We found, kind of looking at flights, that there is a range, but it is Atlanta, it's Hartsfield, Jackson. So it is, one of, if not the largest airports in the country. And it's served by pretty much every carrier in the country. So it's very easy to get a flight there. If you're farther away, or maybe you want a road trip, that could be fun. But for some cities and some schools, it's definitely a little farther than others. For those of us in Auburn, it's a quick 2-hour drive away, but you might not want to drive 11 and a half or 12 and a half hours. So just know that you can do either. But the other thing to consider, of course, is if you do drive, you're going to have a car in downtown Atlanta, and you will not need it. So it's just something else to consider when you're looking at traveling here. When we were looking at flights, we tried to kind of choose the same carrier, just across the board, to try and keep pricing as consistent as possible. But when I checked, I don't know, 5-6 minutes ago, I guess 20 minutes ago, I definitely found a few flights for less than this. Shout out Southwest. So because we have a hybrid conference, that means we're in person, at least partially. So we're kind of having to look at keeping it as safe as possible for everyone who's there, as well as our guests, our speakers, everyone we're inviting. We want to make sure that everyone is safe and everyone has a great time. So for all in-person events or at the conference, we will be requiring masks. We will not have any exceptions unless you can provide us with adequate documentation. So if you have a medical exemption and you let us know ahead of time, we're happy to work with you. But we still want to take as many precautions as possible. That's a good point. Shannon brought up that flight costs fluctuate at different times of the year. So y'all can set up a price tracker if you want. That's actually a great idea. So you can set that up now, wait till it goes down a bit, and then hop on, get those flights booked. So there's that. And we also have to follow the COVID-19 protocols and requirements are issued by Georgia Tech as well. And so kind of as they update their requirements, we might have to update ours as well, but we're not sure exactly what that's going to look like. The situation changes pretty rapidly, but right now we're just kind of anticipating that we'll be at the point where it will be at least masks. So just be aware that that might be a consideration, but we know that masks won't hamper our enjoyment of any of the wonderful speakers and guests that we hope to have. We're still waiting to hear from a few of them. So yeah. Has it stopped working? It has, in fact, stopped working again. 1 second. Okay. Well, that's the end of my presentation. The last slide really just says questions. So I'm going to share my screen one more time, and it's just a piece of public art that I found that I thought was hilarious. But if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them or put them in the chat. I'm happy to answer them. And if I can't give you an answer right now, you can always email, I believe, Jessie. I'm sure she would be happy to send us the questions. I see a raised hand. If you'd like to ask your question.
I missed when the dates were.
Great question. So right now, we're looking at kind of 2 sets of dates, simply because we haven't gotten enough kind of hard confirmations from a lot of our guests yet to really lock one down. We're still waiting to hear from people. So right now we're looking at kind of the weekend of, or kind of the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is March 10th through the 13th, which I believe overlaps with a lot of spring breaks. And the other set of dates is March 31st through April 3rd. And the reason we were kind of looking at those two is because while we do realize that the spring breaks overlap, some people will definitely be having mid-reviews like leading up to it and wouldn't be able to go. Some people will have mid-reviews after. So there's a lot of, that can be a very busy time. So we're looking at maybe pushing it back a little bit just to help those people and allow hopefully as many people as possible to come. And I will, of course, let you guys know as soon as we have an answer. So sorry, Jesse.
Sorry, I was just gonna, so if I attend virtually, how much of the conference can I expect to be able to participate in with it being a hybrid conference?
Great question. So right now, I don't have a hard percentage for you. You know, we'd have to look at like the number of hours, you know, that are strictly in person only. But our plan as of right now is to have equivalent, at least, workshops happening virtually as in person, kind of simultaneously, if not just kind of just broadcasting it as it's happening in person. But we also want to make all of our kind of sessions and any panel, we're looking at maybe having a panel. We want to do all of those virtually as well, to try to make those as accessible as possible. And then we'll have some in-person attendance for those. I think kind of the two things that can't necessarily be done virtually are the Beaux-Arts Ball, or a true Beaux-Arts Ball, right, is in person. We still do want to have something that evening for virtual attendees. You know, we thought Grassroots was awesome. They managed to have stuff. So we're definitely looking at something like that as well. So I can't say 100%, unfortunately, but we would love to be able to say, you know, 85 to 90% is kind of what we're aiming for right now. All right. Any other questions? TSA? Oh no.
Will
all of UTSA?
Will the sessions be recorded? So if someone is unable to attend the event live due to school, work, or other obligations, if they decide to participate virtually, will the virtual sessions be recorded so they can view it later?
Great question. Yes, our plan is to record, well, to both broadcast and record as much as possible, because, well, we think that, you know, we want all of our members to attend and kind of get, you know, first crack at a lot of the stuff. We think the conversations that we want to have are still important. So we're just trying to figure out how we can make it available, but still kind of encourage everyone to attend. But our goal ultimately is to make everything, or as much as possible, available to members and non-members online, maybe via YouTube and that kind of stuff. So.
That's awesome. And one idea is if your school is unable to attend because of mid-reviews or other obligations, you can always host a viewing party with your chapter later on when it is accessible for your chapter. So you can still get all of the great content that's going to be generated during the conference, even if you can't attend live. And it's always fun to do it with friends.
I have a question. Back when I was a chapter treasurer, something that I sometimes ran into with my school is that I'd have difficulties depending on the time of month paying for certain things because we had to go through our school and accounts. And so if the early bird deadline of November 1st, because that's about a little over a month away, if that's difficult for somebody, but they have a registration list of their school and who wants to attend, are you willing to work with those students?
It's a great question. And I would say we definitely are willing to work with them, as long as they let us know ahead of time and they keep us updated. It's kind of where they are in the process. I'm sure they'd be happy to work something out with them. We do realize that this bidding process is kind of unconventional as far as timeline goes. So we also might start looking at kind of pushing back that early bird a little bit. You can only go back so far for vendors and stuff need hard numbers, but we're definitely willing to be a little bit flexible there.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? How am I doing today? Well, that's a great question. I'm doing fantastic now. I just had a great day so far, so I hope y'all are doing great as well.
I'm glad, Colin.
We had to do a presentation for the president of our school and none of our screen shares would work.
Oh, I don't know if you noticed, I had a similar problem. It kind of worked, but
It worked fine. I wanted to talk just really quickly about some COVID requirements and things that we've been discussing. So we will be requiring either proof of vaccination or proof of a negative COVID test within 72 hours before the conference for people who are going, just to make sure everybody's safe and stuff like that. So the AIS National Office will be handling that procedure. We're going to probably create some sort of upload site where you can upload, a picture of your vaccination card, things like that. So just in case you're wondering about COVID requirements, that's what we're doing on from the national office standpoint. And then of course, anything that the schools, Georgia Tech or Auburn are requiring is going to extend to the conference as well. And anything that the venues are requiring will obviously extend to the conference as well. So just keep that in mind when you're discussing with your chapter and your students, if they're going to go, if they want to go, that kind of thing. Those are going to be our requirements. I think that's all I wanted to mention, but wonderful presentation, Colin. Thank you very much. And Jesse, do you want to talk a little bit about the voting process?
Yes. So like President Cornelius mentioned earlier, in terms of voting, since there is just one set of schools that will be bidding for the South Quad Conference, it's not a vote between schools, but it is a vote of confidence. So I would request that you go back to your school, speak with your members, share the information that's been given, and then come to a conclusive decision as a chapter. And then please email me at south@ais.org and let me know whether or not your chapter will be voting yes for the vote of confidence or no against. But after seeing this great presentation put together by Colin and Scott with the great support from your schools, I'm really hoping that y'all are all as excited as I am. Quad conferences are really exciting, and I know that we all miss each other a lot, and this will be a really nice opportunity for a good hybrid experience. There's been a lot of very successful hybrid conferences that have been happening with a lot of our allied organizations recently, and so it's really exciting to be able to push this forward within the AIAS, especially as things change and evolve. Hybrid is just going to be a really great avenue.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so we're also going to be using this conference to inform, grassroots and future conferences at the national level, how we're going to make those hybrid or available both virtually and in person somehow. So super excited for this and all the things that y'all are planning. And yes, Jesse said Colin and Scott did the presentation. She's wrong. I didn't do anything.
I'm so sorry. Cool. I'm so sorry.
Totally fine. Well, yeah, thank you all for coming. That is the whole presentation. So we are going to be obviously posting this recording online, and I'll also be posting the bid packet that the team created. So voting will close on Tuesday. Again, send your vote to jessiesouth@ais.org from your ais.org email account. If you send it with your personal account, we can't really verify that it's an official vote. So make sure to use your chapter's email. And that's about it. Is there anything else we need to mention before we are done?
And if you do not have access to your chapter's ais.org email, please email Vice President DeFranza at vicepresident@ais.org to have your password reset, so you're given access.
Exactly. Okie doke. Well, are there any further questions before we wrap up? Okay. Well, thank you all for coming. Yeah, great job, Colin. Great job, Colt. He's not here, but y'all are doing amazing. Really excited for the conference, and we'll see y'all there, hopefully. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.